What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Rangers Central. And the Rangers have slayed one of their demons. We talked about before the playoffs. They need to slay demons. They slayed arguably the biggest demon of them all, themselves versus a 2-0 series lead, as they end up taking a 3-0 series lead here as they beat the Capitals 3-1 in Washington, D.C. in round one, game three here. What a wild game this was. You had a mountain of penalties in this game. Not a lot happening at all at 5v5. The Rangers giving a mini heart attack, not fully cardiac Rangers. We were like half to cardiac Rangers in this game. But regardless, they get the job done. On your way in here, leave a like on the post-game show. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know I upload or go live on the channel next. But what a important win. We talked about it on the pregame. You got to win this game, especially because of the fact that Carolina's up 3-0 in their series, looking to sweep tomorrow. You gotta take care of business here against this Washington team that, quite frankly, you are better than in every aspect, which we've talked about ad nauseum. And I don't know really what there is to say with this game, other than the fact that this was just chaotic, to say the least. I mean, the first period, the Rangers played a very good game. Like, I loved what they gave in the first period in terms of defensive effort. Offensively, you maybe want a little more, but I thought they were solid offensively. Second period, a little sloppy at 5v5, but there was a mountain of penalties. Washington had, 6 power plays in this game? And I know that people are going to say to me that they were soft calls. And while I agree with a lot of that, because the Rempe call, what are we doing here calling that? Finishing a check is a penalty now, apparently. This is the NHL playoffs. I don't know what we're doing calling penalties like that. But regardless, you had a lot of garbage calls in this game. I'm not going to dispute that. But at the same time, the Rangers need to have it in their head. This game is being called ticky-tacky. You got to be a little more careful. And also, they called forgot even what they called on Will Coley later on in the game. Aborting? Are we for real with that? Are we for real with that? What sport are we playing here? Come on. But the Rangers got the damn job done on special teams. I did not think in a million years Barclay Goodrow would score a goal this postseason, nonetheless shorthanded. But here he is, almost scoring right after, by the way. They almost got 2 shorthanded goals. Him and Trocheck, that is. There you go. Unfortunately, though, it did open up with Washington scoring, which I didn't like, but a soft goal there from Igor to let up. Carlson just throws one on net, a weak goal. But how about the Rangers having their goalies back there, which is something that I love to see. Chris Kreider gets a deflection goal. That tie it at 1. You get the shorthanded goal. The second period, you get a power play. I was screaming, you got to score here, because the second period, the Rangers played a very sloppy game for the most part. I felt they had the score there on that power play. You're getting an opportunity. Don't squander it. And Vinny Trocheck gets the job done on that give and go with Mika Zibanejad that we saw earlier on in the season. Love to see that. So, yeah, love to see the fact that they actually are up 3-0 in a series, because I was scared. I'm not going to lie to you. As much as I felt confident going into the game that they were going to win, in the back of my head, there was still that fear. And the third period scared me a bit too, and with the fact that they were sitting back. Not that they allowed too many quality chances, but they did sit back quite a bit in that third period. It took them over half the period to get a shot on goal. Then they started generating chances. And the end of the period, they just looked dominant with the way that they shut down Washington. They get the power play there at the end, and there was just no chance for Washington in this game, especially with the way that Igor played. No, they were not going to win this game. Igor was nails after that goal that he allowed. Wasn't a good one, but he was nails after that, and there was just no coming back. Like, even when guys were being left alone in the net front, which you had Fox coasting on one play, which left someone in front of the net open. You had Miller on a power play in the third period. Tom Wilson got a chance in the net front. Didn't like to see that, but Igor Shesterkin doing what we need him to do, standing on his damn head. And listen, love the fact that they did end up getting the W. Would like to see them not sit back entirely there, because I will say I don't like looking ahead right now too much, because of the fact that at the end of the day, there's still a game to be won. The Rangers still got to get the job done. And I know that there's the 98% or whatever they win the series, but I don't want to look too far ahead, but I'm going to for a second. If you play Carolina, Just saying, the way the Islanders sat back, the Rangers cannot do that type of game, but this is a different team, so I'm not going to be too concerned just yet until I see it happen in a different series. But like I was saying, yeah, the Rangers, the only thing that I really have complaints about in this game is the mountain of penalties. I think that's very abundantly clear. And then the lack of offense generated at 5-on-5. But the only thing that I'm willing to give them a pass for is the fact that they barely even played the freaking game at 5v5 because the refs, I don't know what they were calling with this game, but it was just egregious. But Mika Zibanejad again, that first line has been so good. I'd like to see them get the puck in the net a bit more. I mean, they did tonight on that goal. They had the only 5v5 goal. I feel they could generate, or not generate, but I feel, actually generate. I feel they could generate more. They're getting the possession. They're looking better than we've seen them all season long. Chris Kreider, too. How about the fact that he's putting the damn Jets on? As much as I've been on Kreider's ass all season long, and I've been someone that has accused him of lazy efforts, if you're going to show up in the playoffs, I'll put my hands up and gladly take this type of performance. The way that he's putting on the Jets, putting the extra effort in to make the little plays matter, especially with that play on TJ Oshie there. All I'm saying is I will take that Chris Kreider. Jacob Trouba, how about him, by the way? Cannot believe I'm saying he was the best defenseman tonight. He was one of my worries going into the postseason. 3 games in. Wow. That's all I could say is just wow. And then the third line even was, I was right about them generating chances, but Alex Wenberg, dude, in that first period chance he had, please bury that puck. Just please. Like, the fact that he fanned on that annoyed me. You had Zibanejad too at one point, fan on an opportunity. But the second line, in terms of their play, off the puck, Lafreniere was good. Trocheck, very good as well. Panarin, want to see a little more from him. I'm not going to lie. Did not love Panarin's game tonight, but want to see a little more. In terms of other guys, thought Fox had a solid game outside of that one play where he did coast. I thought Lindgren played an all right game. Schneider, I thought, played a good game. Miller was up and down at points, but Schneider played a very good game tonight, in my opinion, in his own end at least. But then you get to the fourth line. That Rempe penalty really kept him out of the game, honestly. He didn't really see the ice after that. But Barclay Goodrow, that special teams work, I'm in shock. I'm in shock, to say the least. But yeah, just chaotic. Just a chaotic game with all those penalties. That's really all I could say. And again, the Rangers did make it a little bit of a cardiac Rangers affair, half cardiac Rangers with the way they played that third period at points, but they got the job done. I mean, this was not even a contest, really, with the way Igor's playing, that is. The way Igor played, loved it. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, I love the way that, specifically with the first line, to get back to that point, I love the way that they were forechecking tonight, especially Rosovic, which I've been critical of Rosovic too. He was noticeable on the forecheck a lot tonight, and he was using his speed, which is something that I've been screaming for months now, ever since he, after the first 2 weeks, kind of tailed off. You notice his speed tonight, and maybe he senses Heedle's potentially coming back to the lineup, which, listen, if he is, and that's going to light a fire under his ass, so be it. So be it. Just some of the little details in general with this game, the way that they were blocking shots as well, getting sticks in the passing lanes all night long, especially Trouba. Again, a guy that I've been critical of, had such a good game tonight. He had such a good game. But yeah, that's really all I got to mention. So before I get to the chat, leave a like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't, turn on your notifications so you know I upload or go live. Sunday, though, please, just please make my life easier and close this thing out. Don't make me go back to the Garden on what would it be, Tuesday or Wednesday? I don't know. Anthony says too many penalties, but some of that was horrendous officiating. But kudos to the PK, 6 for 6, and Igor was perfect after the first goal. This group seems to have learned from years past about closing series. Hopefully. But yeah, I agree with that entirely. Which, how about the other thing too? That you had the whole thing that also leaked recently about how Gerard Gallant refused to let Trocheck was asking to play with Lafreniere last year with him and Panarin, and Gallant said no. You're a dope. What a moron. What a fool. What a dumbass. What a dope. Idiot. Whatever word you want to use. And now we're seeing Lafreniere take the step forward. Didn't like the way the Rangers played at all. Cap, Scott, Igor. Listen, I agree that Igor was the star of the show tonight. And I agree that the Rangers do need to play a lot better at 5v5. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Most importantly, let's take the first step and keep the game at 5v5 by playing disciplined. Shire Miller looking impressive. Shire becoming locked down on defense. Agree with that. I mean, Keandre, like I said, I felt he was up and down through the night, but I agree with your point about Schneider entirely. And I agree that Miller still has played well. Like, that's not a knock on the way Miller has played entirely. I think he's been very solid throughout the series. It just tonight, he was a little more up and down than he's been lately. Yeah, that was a garbage call. And yeah, that's something that I did want to talk about with Wenberg, for sure. I did want to talk about how Wenberg, I don't know how I even forgot to mention it, but not just him not scoring, the dumb penalty, and he had that one giveaway right in front of the net. I don't know what he was doing there, and I know people are saying, why is Miller skating away? He's got to be there for the pass. Why is Wenberg going right in front of his own crease to make a pass? Typically not a good idea. So we go into prevent defense. We sit back and let teams attack. That may not work against teams like Carolina or Florida, even though it does against the Caps. That was the point that I was making, and I do agree with that. But listen, I'm willing to wait and cross that bridge when they get there, because I, for one, I'm trying to stay more even-keeled. You guys have asked me to stay even-keeled. I'm doing my best at it, and my even-keeled, my overreactionary mind agrees. My even-keeled part of my mind is saying, just take care of business against Washington and come about Carolina as it does. But I do agree that you want to see it developed early against a bad team. See, this is the battle I go with in my head. Good win, but the performance needs to be a lot better. Offense, besides the first, wasn't great. Defense was decent, but way too many penalties. This won't fly against teams like the Canes and the Panthers. That I agree with Matt. Like I was just saying before, yeah. And the mission is simple on Sunday. Get the sweep. Penalty kill was amazing. That I agree with. Yeah, I didn't like Wenberg's game. I thought Cooley and Kakko, though, were solid on that third line, especially Cooley. I thought Cooley was all over the ice tonight. I agree with this, but also don't, because they did sit back. Like, let's be real. They sat back. I'm not saying the defense wasn't good, but they did sit back and invited pressure in their own end. And sure, they kept chances to the outside and they played fine in their own end. I'm not disagreeing there, but they did sit back. Technically, they did. Did I say VC goal earlier? You meant Goudreau. Well, I'll let you get a pass there and correct it if you want. Washington's power play so bad they decided to play the whole third, fourth period like they were on the penalty kill. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I think you meant third. I don't know. Regardless, so I want that third line to score too. I thought they would. I'd like to think that's what happened, Jimmy. I'd like to think. I'm just a dope with a microphone on YouTube. I'd like to think that me saying all that about Kreider is why he's doing that. He's sticking his head that Rangers Central jerk off on YouTube thinks I put in lazy efforts. I'm going to show him. I'd love it if he thinks that. I'd love to think that this team knows me. Granted, that might not also be a good thing at times, but I'd love to think that's what happened. But unfortunately, that's it's not the case. Yeah, Gustafsson even too. I agree with that about Fox. I'd like to see him. I was right about him getting a point tonight, but I agree that I'd like to see him get a little more active still. I think Panarin had a good game 1, but game 2, a little up and down. Game 3, I didn't like his game tonight. Yeah, Wember brought the third line down tonight. I agree with that. Who's the MVP so far this series? Good question. It's a very good question. I mean, Igor's up there. I've liked Trocheck's series a lot. I think Trocheck has been such a dog for this team this series. It's a tough question. Mika, too, has been really good this series. I love that I could say all these guys have been good, especially the 2 centers, because what have I harped on in the past? That you need 2 centers, 2 really good centers, 1 and 2. Specifically, your 1 and 2 centers, I should say, to be dominant in the playoffs. And right now, they're getting that type of play from their 1 and 2 centers. And that's another reason why I've been just shitting on Mika all season, because you need him to play like a 1C, and he's starting to play like that right now. Yeah, give me my money back. I need it for round 2 tickets. You're right. Yeah, Mika was great. Yeah, go on to Moron. Hedl next game. I don't think Heedle's playing next game. And that's another thing, Nick. I do agree with this. As much as we're sitting here talking about the Rangers playing sloppy throughout the series, Carolina has not been on their game, so who knows what's going to be in store next series. And I agree. It still scares me. Did the demotion of Trouba put a fire under his ass? I don't know if it's that or it's the fact that he just simply plays better in sheltered minutes. It could be a bit of both. Wonder if the team knows about Podcast Lady. I hope they know about that psycho. I really hope they do. I don't know if the Rangers would be playing... the Rangers would not be playing Washington right now if they had Gallant behind the bench. They'd probably be the 2 or 3 seed. Thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Wow, Nico. Surely the captain, our goalie, will play Eschel tonight, right? Surely. And yeah, they do have a tendency to play down to competition, so hopefully it's a case of that. Yeah, but Bobrovsky's been unbelievable this postseason for Florida. And that was the whole thing. It's like Vasilevsky could steal that series. Well, right now, Bobrovsky's been the better goalie. Kreider's definitely up there in that conversation too, yeah. I don't know if they're going to play Hedel or not. I really don't. I think that they're going to wait for next round, but with what happened with Rempe tonight, you never know. I just think they're going to want Rempe's physicality, and I think that they're not going to want to risk Hedel getting hurt, especially in a game 4 against a team that plays very physical. I'm not worried about Panarin. I'm just saying that tonight he didn't play a great game. Interesting. If they think that about Rempe, then as Tom Wilson's being a clown and chasing everyone around all night long, especially Rempe, he wanted to drop the mitts. I love that Rempe didn't fight there. You have the lead. You got to protect it. Don't fight and give them momentum. I agree. Cooley's had a very quietly good series. Right on cue, as I said that, Matt. Right on cue. Agree completely. Rosvik, Wenberg, Ruedel, who am I keeping? That's more of an off-season question, to be honest with you. I just think they're rentals, though. If you want an answer, I think they're all truly just rentals, especially if Hedel's coming back for Wenberg's sake. Rempe plays and they win. Rempe plays and they win. And yeah, Hedel gets more rest too. And yeah, Hedel got hurt versus Carolina. Might make his debut against Carolina. This is so true, Josh. And that's what scares me a bit about Florida. But obviously, the Rangers have to get through the first 2 rounds before we worry about dealing with a team like the Florida Panthers. Oh, yeah, that too, that I didn't even mention with Rempe. There was one play, yeah, where he was coming down the wing and drove to the net. And then there was one play earlier in the game where he was just back checking. Like, it was insane the way that he was playing on the back check there, especially because VC, I think, overcommitted on a play, and then he just covered for him there. I'm not too concerned because the penalties that he's taken, like tonight, especially, that was actually both penalties this series. Such stupid calls. Such garbage calls. Looks like Vancouver won, which is interesting, especially because they do not have Demko. Cool and Shire look like playoff type players. They got young legs, do the dirty work. Game doesn't get too tough for them. Cooley forechecking for 2 minutes straight, and the third was great. And how great is it that those guys are probably crucial parts of the team for years to come? How great is that? Obviously, with Schneider and Cooley in general, at some point you're going to have the worry of their bodies breaking down, but they're both so young right now. They're both so young right now that that's so far down the road that I'm not worried about that. For now, you've still got a lot of good years of those guys. Yeah, I say let Hedel rest, especially because of the whole thing where Wilson might be annoying. Maybe they do have the guys now. Maybe I was wrong. We'll see, Dimitri. Yes, leave a like if you haven't. Leave a like. See if we can get to 100. I would appreciate that. When you're winning, you don't change the formula. Yep. I agree. Oilers versus Rangers Cup Finals. That would be an interesting matchup. I'm starting to think Vegas might come out of the West, though, but Miller should never play with Trouba again, yeah. Listen, as much as I hear, and some other fans could agree with me that had the opinion to split Miller and Trouba up, you're not the coach, stop talking. Well, there are times where fans do know what they're talking about, and this was one of the times where the fans knew what they were talking about. They cannot play together again. A little concerned about Panarin's stat line, 2 games in a row without a point or much of an impact. Need to get him, need him to get something next game, or it's going to become a story again. I agree with that to an extent, because I do think in game 2, he was doing a couple good things without the puck, but I agree that you want to see him get on the score sheet too, because it's going to be a problem if not. Simple as that. And that too, he didn't get to play a lot tonight because of how much they were on the penalty kill. That I agree with. I think the reason people are concerned, though, is because when he was on the ice, he was making a couple mistakes now and then. You see guys panic with the puck. You definitely see it. And that's something that I love about Rempe's game, is that everyone's scared to move the puck when he's coming in on the forecheck. Draisaitl will be a future Ranger? I don't know about that. I'd rather wait the extra offseason for McDavid. That's just me. But that's so far down the road. What other games are on? We got Colorado, Winnipeg, and then Edmonton and LA at 10:30. Interesting. So you got 2 very intriguing series, in my opinion. Okay. We're not gonna, no. All right. Lots of talk in Edmonton. He'd love to be a Ranger if he was an Oiler. I don't know how much truth there is to that. Oh, Colorado scored. I don't know how much truth there is to that, Joe. But if it happens, I'll give you credit if it happens. I think it's a good sign that they are beating the Caps without Panarin and Fox playing at an elite level. Eventually, they will have to wake up against better teams. Hedl coming back also helps. So that I do agree with, too. Like, they're doing this without guys playing at the top of their game. It's a very good point, Matt. And Mika is showing a 200-foot game, Carson. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I am going to wrap this up here. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the post-game show. Leave a like if you have not already. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. Turn on your notifications so you know upload or go live on the channel next. We're going to have a pregame on Sunday. We're going to have the postgame on Sunday. Be ready, because get it done. Let's get the freaking job done here. Let's go, Rangers. I'll see you guys then.